Oh, hello. Hi, how are you? I didn't expect you. Oh, great. You want to learn about the growth of bureaucracy? That's fantastic. Well, here we go. We got notes. 4C2, the growth of bureaucracy. You guys remember what bureaucracy is? Bureaucracy is people that work for the government, specifically the executive branch, people that work for the federal government. Example, people that work for NASA or Department of Education or Department of Defense or the post office. They are bureaucratic workers. Some people hate them, and some people only kind of hate them. They run our government, and that can frustrate some people because often that means you got to jump through a lot of hoops to get things done. Here we go. All right. In order to work for the bureaucracies, you had to get a job there, and the way that people got jobs there in the past, it's been handled differently by different times in our nation's history. So let's look at the very beginning here. We had the spoil system for a long, long time. Up until, let's see, up until 1881, we had the spoil system. The spoil system means that a president would come in and he would win. Let's say he's a Democrat. He would fire a whole bunch of people who he might not agree with. Maybe he'd fire some other Democrats too. Oh my gosh. My wife is calling me. Hold on. Hold on. Wife always comes first, boys. Remember that. It's a boy? Oh, that's awesome. Great. Alright, cool. Congratulations. Yeah, alright. Yeah. Robinson Jr.? Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Alright, so I was saying that back in the day, when presidents won elections, they would use something called the spoil system, where they would kind of wipe out all the old workers that were not loyal to them, and hire a bunch of buddies and friends and people that supported them in the campaign, or loyal Democrats if they were a Democrat, or loyal Republicans if they were Republican. And this got to be kind of almost ridiculous. When you're reading your book in class tomorrow, you'll see a lot of presidents got overwhelmed by this task, and thousands of people would go to the White House looking for jobs, basically, begging. And one of these guys that came looking for a job, I forget his name, but he went and looked for a job and was turned down, and he actually shot the president. He shot and killed Garfield. Did he kill him? I don't remember. Let's find out. You're writing the notes anyway. You got plenty of time. Garfield die? Yeah, okay, he died. He was assassinated. I guess when it says assassination, I should probably know that that means that he died. But, so President Garfield was killed by one of these guys that was looking for a job, but he was disappointed he didn't get a job. And this kind of drew attention to the fact that, you know what, we need to change this crazy spoil system. And so it was changed to more of a merit-based system where based on someone's achievement or their expertise. And so you're going to need to know these words. The old system was spoil system. And it would become a civil service system based on examinations. That you'd have to pass a test if you were going to, say, be a postmaster general. That was a popular job that used to be given away. Well, now you have to pass a test and prove that you actually know what you're talking about. And, you guys should be familiar with the word merit. You know, that people should be judged on their merits, not who they're friends with, okay? So merits is like what you can achieve. And this is pretty much the way that things are done today on a merit-based system. But 10% of workers are still appointed by the president. So 90% are in the civil service system. They got to pass a test. 10% are still appointed by the president, and they're known as political appointees. All right. What about the size of the bureaucracy? Well, today there are about 3 million civilian federal employees, so that doesn't count the Army. And that number has been pretty constant since 1950. We even reduced it 250,000 under Clinton. And you might say, like, wow, our government hasn't grown since 1950? Well, that's not really accurate. So on one hand, you could say like, wow, isn't that great? Our government's getting really good at running itself, and it's so efficient, and things are going much better. Well, hold on. We learned in class about something called New Federalism, and that's the idea that a lot of money and a lot of power in the last 50 years has been kind of transferred to states. And so, we talked specifically about welfare or food stamps. Used to be run by the federal government. Now it's run by states. And so when the states run it, they got to hire their own bureaucrats. And so what we've seen over time is a shifting of bureaucrats from the federal government to state governments. So that's why our numbers have been able to stay pretty consistent since 1950, is because a lot of this bureaucracy has been tossed off for the states to deal with. All right, so what is the power of the bureaucracy? What kind of stuff can they do? Well, they have discretionary authority. So agencies have the power to kind of choose their own course of action. So Congress writes a very broadly worded law, like we give the TSA the power to secure our airports. Congress never wrote a law that said that the TSA or that airlines no longer are going to let liquids on the plane, or you can't talk on your cell phone on the plane. That wasn't a law written by Congress. They kind of have other stuff to do than to worry about the little minute details. So they create the TSA. They write broadly worded laws that give them power to secure airline flights. And then the TSA gets to pass their own rules and regulations. Like you can't have more than 3 ounces of liquid on a plane, and you got to take your shoes off and go through the X-ray machine, and you might get sprayed with bomb-sniffing material, and you could get pulled out of line and have a what is that called? A special extended search. Okay, very random search. So they create these things and they give them broadly worded laws so that it allows them to kind of run themselves. When you guys get into the workplace, there's a thing called Osha, and it's the federal government coming to check out the workplace and make sure that you're following the rules, that you don't have the sink where you wash your hands right next to the oven or something weird. And your job, you'll probably see, will flip out and like run around trying to fix everything before OSHA comes. Or IRS tax code. Tax code is 10,000s of pages long. Congress didn't pass 10,000 pages. They just gave the IRS the power to do a whole bunch of stuff, and the IRS passed their own rules and regulations from within. So this is important. This is it's kind of boring, but this is what runs our government on a day-to-day basis, the existence of bureaucracy. And people like to make fun of it and say like, oh my god, the IRS, oh the DMV, oh the post office, but if you look at other countries and how inefficient they are, America's doing a really good job actually with the efficiency of our bureaucracy. What else does the bureaucracy do? Well, they help Congress draft legislation, they give advice to the White House, and they settle disputes. So why have we seen the power of the bureaucracy grow over time? Well, the national government has grown over time. It's a lot different than when Washington was in there, or Jefferson, or Jackson, or even, Teddy or Franklin. The government is different than when they were in there. And so you need to create new agencies to cope with new people and new problems. Like, Hurricane Katrina, you have agencies that go in there and help fix that. Whereas if Hurricane Katrina happened 40 years ago, or 60 years ago, 40 is not a good example, but pre-FDR, the government's not really going to help with that. Technology has helped bureaucracy grow, and new agencies to help manage this new technology, like radio signals with the FCC, or airlines with the FAA. We've had international crises, when, since the Cold War, we've had a variety of international crises, and this has increased the power of the Department of Defense or the Department of Homeland Security, which didn't even exist, 12 years ago. Citizens demand that the federal government assume some responsibility for the welfare of the nation, and because of that, we have seen the bureaucracy grow. Pre-FDR, the government didn't exist to help you or solve your problems. Today, though, if something goes wrong, you say, come on, Obama, help me. Come on, Bush, help me. And the persistent need of agencies to survive. I think this one's important. when a bureaucracy is created, when a department is created, say the Department of Homeland Security, you can probably bet it's going to be around for as long as the United States is around, the Department of Homeland Security, because once something is created, it is very, very difficult to get rid of it. Very difficult. That's thousands of jobs. Those people are going to fight to keep their jobs. If anything, we can bet that the size of these agencies is going to grow and grow and grow over time. So once they're created, they develop constituencies that make them difficult for Congress to kill. Can you imagine getting rid of food stamps today or the post office today? Even with the post office losing money, I'm going to bet that they're not going anywhere. And that's it. The notes are done. Thanks for sticking with me, and be sure to answer the questions that are on Schoology. Have a nice day. Bye.